Hello, 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 welcome. Oh my goodness, we are live. It is Computer Science Education Week. This is our kickoff to an amazing week. We are going to spend this hour coding with real life Googlers. We have one down here. We're going to meet her in just a second. Students, I hope you're as excited as I am. If not, hopefully we'll get you there. But before we begin, we want to stop always before any of our lessons and think about this land that we are so lucky to be on. Me here, I'm in Calgary. This is Treaty 7 territory. This is the home of the Blackfoot, Piikani, Kainai, Tsuut'ina, Stoney Nakoda, Métis, rich cultures here around me. I'd love for all of us, take a moment, think about and acknowledge those lands that you are on. And if you haven't seen this website, the link that's on the screen, native-land.ca, an amazing resource so you can learn more. Well, with that, I would like to officially introduce myself, Michelle Armstrong, based in really cold, snowy Calgary, Alberta, Canada. We are a partner to Google Canada, and we are thrilled to be able to work alongside them. We're going to meet a bunch of Tooglers today. I think Sandy's going to explain what that is if you don't know. We're going to code using our favorite game, and then we're going to show off our awesome work. Teachers, couple little housekeeping items for you in case you have not joined us before. This is YouTube Live. You can pause us at any point. If we're going too fast, it's okay. Pause, rewind. We'll be here when you get back. And students, some of you already know you can communicate with us. Oh my goodness, we have a lot of students that have been here before. We've got Daniel and Jet and Isaac and Lennox and Nick and John and Mason and Brooke, Wyatt. Wow, you guys already know how to communicate with us. Hello to all of you. For those that don't know, take a look at the link on the page right now. Open up a new tab. Go to thecc.page/CS1st. Let us know who you are. Let us know what grade you're in. And if you're brand new to our live lessons, let us know. But for sure, let us know your name. Let us know what grade you're in. And with that, we get to our very first Googler introduction of the day. Sandy Curry is here with us again. Hello, Sandy.
Hello, Michelle, educators and students. Happy Computer Science Education Week, woo-woo, an hour of code. So Michelle and I are pretty excited, as you know, and we're going to go fairly quickly because we want to get you coding. We want it to be as much of 1 hour of code for you as possible. So Sandy Curry, I'm the STEM Computer Science Outreach Program Manager for Google Canada, and we love it when you get to hang out with us, when you get to play, learn, have fun with Scratch for CS1st, and meet some fun Googlers. But in this case, Michelle, I call them Tooglers because they're volunteering to teach. So let's bring them out. Let's meet them. So who do we have first? We have joining us Justin. Hey, Justin. We have Laura. Nice to see you, Laura. And Ruth. Nice to have you here with us today. And so, Michelle, that form is on fire. We have Audrey, grade 6. We have Liam says hi. Peter says good afternoon. Danielle from Tompkin Road says hello. Hunter, Alex, Patrick, Taya, Corbin. We've got lots of grade 6s. Michael is in grade 7. So lots of students joining us today for Hour of Code. And so with that, Michelle, I think I'm going to pass it over to you. I think what I might do is go to the back of the broadcast studio, let you guys hang out with our Tooglers today, get doing some of that video game or game coding, manipulating, working through Scratch for CS1st, and I'm going to check out what you're up to in a little bit.
Sounds great, Sandy. Well, you go hang out backstage and watch this action. Tooglers, we are thrilled to have you here. Thank you so much. Students, if you have joined us before, you know usually we have a little bit of lead up. We get to meet these Tooglers, but guess what? We're just going to dive in and we're going to code. So things are a bit different today. I do want to give a shout out, though, to Mrs. Raul Paulino's class. You guys are grade 3-4. Welcome. It's the first time you guys have joined us live. We hope you enjoy it. Okay, so Students, back in that form, we want to hear from you. What is your favorite game? Maybe it's a video game. Maybe it's a game you play on paper. Maybe it's a board game. What's the first thing that comes to your mind when we ask you, what is your favorite game? Tooglers, our teaching Googlers, we're going to go to you and we are going to ask you, ooh, what's your favorite game? Let's start with you, Justin. What's your favorite game?
It's a classic, but my favorite's Tetris.
Oh, Tetris. Love it. Students, I'll bet you know Tetris. All right, Laura, favorite game?
I don't play a ton of video games, but one that I really did enjoy when I was in high school was Flappy Bird.
Nice. Flappy Bird. I wonder if our students have heard of Flappy Bird. Okay, Ruth, what's your favorite game?
Yeah, hi. So I don't play that many like games. I play a lot of card games, but one of the games on my phone I've had for a long time is Candy Crush. And yeah.
Okay, Candy Crush, Ruth, I'm there with you. I think I'm on level 3000. It's crazy. I think we're going to use Candy Crush as my inspiration, but I think Laura, Justin, you guys use Flappy Bird and Tetris. Students out there, let's just see who else is here with us. Wow, we have lots of fun games out there. Patrick and Rayanne like Fortnite. Amelia likes board games. Wow, Mr. Lewis's 6A Awesome is in the house. Hello, 6A Awesome. A lot of Fortnite. Lauren likes Mario Kart 8. Genshin Impact, Kayla. Roblox. Okay, students. Oh my gosh, we got basketball is in here. Students, your goal right now, think of a game. Tooglers, you've already thought of a game. We're going to get coding and we're going to use that game as inspiration for us to code. So, Googlers, you guys already have a sneak peek. You kind of know what you're going to be doing. So, I'm going to pull us full screen so you guys can work backstage, start finding your game. Students, I'm going to show you what you are going to do to find your game. So first of all, step one, students, you need to find code for your game. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. So what we're going to be doing, students, you're going to be going into a brand new tab. So in that brand new tab, and I'm going to walk you through this again, so don't worry if it goes too fast. But in your brand new tab, we're going to go to Scratch MIT. The Scratch library has hundreds, probably thousands of games coded in Scratch. Games just like Tetris, just like Candy Crush, probably like Flappy Bird, maybe even Fortnite, who knows? But we're going to go to the Scratch library. We're going to search for our favorite game. We're going to find some code. We're going to look carefully at that code to make sure it's going to work for us, to make sure it's appropriate code. And then we're going to download that code and we're going to be able to use that code to make a new version of our game. All right, students, I know our Tooglers already know this. I think our Tooglers are getting their game. I'm going to walk you through these steps one more time. This time, I want you to follow along with me. So first things first, you are going to go to the regular Scratch page. So usually we're in Scratch for CS first, but today we are going to use the library over in scratch.mit.edu. So right now, students, in a new tab, I want you to go to scratch.mit.edu. And if at any point you are struggling, you have questions, just let me know in the form. So when you get to scratch.mit.edu, I'm even going to zoom in on this a little bit so you guys can hopefully see a little better. You're going to go into that search box and search for your favorite game. So maybe Alejandro, you're going to search Roblox. Maybe, let's see. Ooh, Abilene, you like FIFA 23. Maybe you're going to search FIFA 23. Malia, you like volleyball. Maybe there's code in there for volleyball. Go for it. Search it. Try it. Oh, Audrey, you like Sims 4. So do my daughters. So me, I like Candy Crush. So I'm going to search for Candy Crush. And again, we're inside scratch.mit.edu. I'm going to search Candy Crush. You'll notice I'm not even signed into Scratch. I can search that without even being signed in. It's awesome. And we see all sorts of versions of my game. So students, let me know in the form, did you find some code for your game? I found a whole bunch of Candy Crush. Maybe you found a whole bunch of games for your favorite code. What you need to do, you need to make sure this code is appropriate for you to use. So all of these code, people have put code inside the Scratch library. They have allowed us to use it publicly. They have hopefully followed all rules of putting in copyright images, all those things. It's up to you now to just take a look at that code. Is that code appropriate? Here's a couple ways for you to tell. So, student, hopefully you found some code. I want you to pick one of those projects, and I want us to look really closely at these projects to make sure that they are appropriate for us to use. So first thing we're going to look at, students, take a peek up at the screen just so you see where I'm looking. I can see we've got over 3,000 people. They like this code. They've started. It's one of their favorites. We've had a bunch of people remixing this code. We've had a bunch of people actually looking at this code. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, this looks like it's probably appropriate for me to use. I can look down at the comments. So students, this is where you need to start assessing the code that you are going to use. Is it appropriate for your project? Okay, I'm going to give you just another second. Take a look. If you're ready and you've found some code that you think is going to be good for you, we're going to go inside right away. But one thing I'll just say one more time. What do these numbers look like down at the bottom? How many likes? How many favorites? And then you keep scrolling down. Take a look at the comments. Sometimes, students, we run into nasty comments, don't we? But hopefully the code you found has positive comments, has lots of likes and favorites. If you are ready, if you have found code, maybe Jasmine, maybe you found Toga Boca. Atita, maybe you found something Minecraft. All of those that love Fortnite. When you are ready, you are going to click that See Inside button. Ready to go? We are going to see inside. Once we go see inside, now we're going to be able to see what? Look at all of this code that went into making this Candy Crush game. If I press the flag, I can start playing Candy Crush, but instead of playing Candy Crush, I want to get this code into a place where my teacher can see it, and that perfect place is inside Scratch for CS First. I'm going to check in on our Googlers just for a second. So students, if you haven't found your code, if you haven't pressed See Inside, you've got an excellent minute to just keep looking while we check in with our Tooglers to make sure they found code. And I have a question for them. Okay, Tooglers. Question, thumbs up. Did you find code you could use? Thumbs up. Oh, phew. Justin, I'm not sure. Justin's maybe like, no way, I'm busy coding. I'm going to ask a question. Maybe let's start with you, Laura. Laura, because you code as your day job, do you typically start with pre-existing code, or do you just like build it right out of the gate?
Yeah, so it really depends what you're working on. I work on a back-end server, and so a lot of it is pre-existing code, and so it's us just kind of updating it, trying to make it more efficient, trying to make it run better. But when I worked as an intern and you're kind of creating a project from scratch, then I wrote a lot of code from the start. So it really just kind of depends on what kind of project you're working on.
I love that. And when you say starting from scratch, not exactly this kind of scratch coding, is it?
No, not this kind of scratch.
All right. Okay. Well, Tooglers, I'm going to let you guys go back. Hopefully you've got your code saved because we talked about that before. But students, we're coming back to you so we can get your code saved for you to use later. So Tooglers, I'll let you guys go back to working. Students, coming back to you. So if you have joined one of our lessons before, you will remember we always love to use Scratch for CS first. If you have your code over in CS first, your teacher can see it. Your teacher can share it with the other students. It's a great locked down place where you can be comfortable sharing and your teacher can see your work. So that's what we're going to do next. We are going to save our work and bring it over to CS first. Ready? Students, if you already know how to do this, awesome. If you're not too sure, this is where you're going to follow me. So we're getting this code out of regular Scratch. We're going to put it into CS first. And how we do that is pretty easy. We just go to the File menu. We save this code to our computer. Remember where it saves because we're going to need it later. So right now, students, you've got work to do. Press that File menu. Save that file to your computer. And once it's saved, you'll notice it's saving down below. It's taking a second. File menu, save to my computer. This is where you're going to jump over to your CS first. Get yourself logged into CS first. Now, some of you out there, you might be saying, what? I don't have a CS first account. Oh no. Do you know what? Don't worry about it. I'm going to show you how you can still do this without CS first. But if you have CS first, it's amazing because it saves automatic and it's there for your teacher to see as well. So you've saved that file to your computer. You're over at CS first. You've logged into CS first. And teachers, at this point, if you do want your students inside CS first, if they're not quite there, you can pause. But when you're in CS first, super easy. We're over in our dashboard. We see that plus. We're going to click that plus, and we're going to start a new project inside CS first. So when we go to our new project, and any students that joined us for any of our last couple of already know this because this is what we did. But now, oh, wait a second. I'm inside CS first. It's loading a brand new project. And that brand new project you're going to see is going to be blank. Hopefully it's going to load. So students, again, just telling those instructions one more time. You've saved the file to your computer. You've now gone to see, open a brand new project. I'm waiting for it. interesting. Things are just going a little slow for us today. I suppose that's just the nature of technology, isn't it? All right. Looks like things are loaded. All right, students. So when you're inside Scratch for CS First, this is where, from the File menu, we can load that file that we saved over in regular Scratch. We can bring that into CS First, and then it's there. It saves for us. Our teacher can see it. It's awesome. So with that, I'll explain those instructions one more time. And then I'm also going to show, if you don't have CS First, here's how you can just get coding. So you've downloaded your code from Scratch MIT. You're then going over to CS First, where you are logged in with your CS First account. You're going to go File, Load from my computer. It's going to ask you, are you sure? You say, yes, of course I'm sure. And then you're going to have that code there for you. So with that, Hunter, thank you. Hunter says this is going very well and fun. Logan, yours says unable to upload file, maximum file size reached. I've never seen that error before, but that's possible. Don't worry, Logan. I have your plan B. So students, if you're able to get that loaded into your CS First, awesome. If not, I'm going to show you a plan B so we can all just get coding inside or outside of CS First. So here I am back at regular Scratch. And remember, we went see inside. Look at what I can do. I can actually modify this code even without saving. So if you are okay working with your code, but maybe not being able to save, you can just stay right inside regular Scratch, but just remember, it might not save, so just be careful. So I'm going to stay here. I'm going to be careful. I'm going to start doing some coding. Then we're going to check in on our Tooglers. The first thing, I see Theodore, your file is also too big. Abby, unable to save to the file because the disk is full. Don't worry, students. Let's use our plan B. I think with coders, you always have a plan B. Let's just go back to regular Scratch. You see your code. Now I want you to think, what are some things you can change in your code? So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to run my code. Let's see what it does. So, all right. Oh, it looks just like Candy Crush. And it's got the icons of Candy Crush. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to change those sprites. So students, look at your code. If you want to change your sprites along with me, you can follow my instructions. Some of you probably already are diving into the code. You're making your own changes. You go right ahead. But for those a little unsure of what you want to change, let's look at how we change the look of the sprites. So right now, I know I have a bunch of sprites. I would have thought I have a whole bunch of sprites. I only have one. All of those images must be inside the costumes. Take a look over in the costumes. I'm going to pop over there. Aha! Look at all of the different costumes that are already coded for me. If I want to change those sprites, I change the costumes. So to do that, I go down to the very bottom. Look at that. There's a little cat down in the bottom left. So instead of adding a new sprite, I'm going to add a new costume. So let's see. If I pick a new costume, the one I worked on before, I picked a whole bunch of cats. Well, we don't have cats, so I'm going to keep it nice and easy this time. And students, if you how you're doing. Asher says things are working well. Excellent. And Arush says this is awesome. I think so too. Except the only thing, Arush, is this isn't loading very quickly. So that's not so awesome. But let's go ahead and there they are. Perfect. I'm going to change my Candy Crush to a bear. Why not? So students, if you want to change the look of your sprites, take a look in costumes and add a new costume. And then you'll notice that new costume should show up at the bottom. And if your computer is a little bit slow, it takes a minute. But there is my bear. My bear is very big. I'm going to resize my bear a little bit. Let's zoom out a smidge. But students, what we've done, you'll notice, wait a second, my bear didn't show up over in my Candy Crush anywhere. That's just the costume that isn't coded. So to get that bear to show up instead of one of my candies, I just have to copy my bear and paste it over the candy I want to change. Does that make sense? So take a look at the front, students. If you're not quite sure how to do this, I've inserted a new costume. I've copied that costume. Now I'm going to go up. I want to change all of the, let's say all of those red candies. So if I go into that red candy, if I get rid of the red candy, ooh, oh, look at that. It goes away from my code. If I paste my bear, so that was just a Command C and a Command V, or you could right-click copy, right-click paste. Yikes, that bear is way too big. I'm going to shrink him a little. But now do you see, students, how you can change the looks of any of the sprites just by going into those costumes? That might be too small. So I'm going to show that again just one more time in case you missed it. So if you want to change the look, you're going to click on this little choose a costume at the bottom. And then you are going to bring in whatever new costume you like. You're going to copy that costume. And you just want to grab that whole costume. You can either right click and go copy, or Control C, Control V, and then go up and just replace whichever sprite you want to replace. So that's how you can change the look of your games. So teachers, again, just a reminder, if you need to pause at any point, you let us know. If you need any help at all, you let us know. Miss B's class, you guys, this might be a bit quick for you. Again, you can pause, rewind. All we've done so far, we grabbed some code. We looked at the costumes. We changed up the costumes. I think we're going to check in with our Tooglers and see how they're doing. Tooglers, are you ready? Here we come for another question. Let's go with Ruth. First of all, Ruth, how's it going? You keeping up with
really
things?
Well. Yeah.
How is your Candy Crush? Are you changing any of your candies?
Yeah, I'm making mine all animal themed. So like all the reds, instead of becoming like striped and stuff, will just like be changing cats, and then the others are like changing elephants and stuff like that.
I love it. That's awesome. Because like, I mean, the sprites are already coded. Yeah, so we can change them to whatever look we like. So then maybe I'm going to go to Justin, a question for you. Are you ever coding in real life where you're changing the look of things?
The look of things, not so much, because I work on stuff there's more behind the scenes, but I do often interact with people who are working on the look of things, and sometimes they will ask me for extra data or something that will make what they're trying to show look better. If that makes sense.
Wow. It totally makes sense. So there's all sorts of different types of coding. Sometimes we get to play with visuals, sometimes not. How about you, Laura? Are you ever working with any sort of visuals in your code?
I have actually, yeah, I have worked on kind of like some front end stuff. And so, it's pretty fun because it's exactly what we're doing now. It's in live time. So you change one thing, you save it, and then you look on the screen and it changed what you're doing and you get to kind of play around with it. But I'm curious, Michelle, is there anything that you could do beyond just changing the look of the code? Is there anything else that you think you could play around with?
Yes. However, Laura, I'm not a good. If you're not a coder out there, it might be fun to just change the look, but I like the challenge, Laura. I'm going to dive in to see if I can actually change the code. Students, are you guys ready? Thanks, Laura. We'll go back to coding. I'll see what I can do. Wish me luck. All right. So now, students, we have to dive in and look closely at the code. So it's one thing to be able to change the design. Whoa, it's a whole other thing to be able to read the code. So let's go into that code and let's just see what we can find. I encourage you as well, students, right now, just look through the code. Mine is very, very, very complicated. I don't really understand all of it. I certainly don't understand a whole lot of it, but I think I can make sense of a few things. So when I look through my code, oh boy, if you were in one of our other lessons, we talked about variables. If I go into that variables menu, oh wow, there's all sorts of variables in my code. What about in your code? Students, do you have any variables in your code? What about down, if you keep going down, what else is in there? We've got lists. We've got variables. I see this check mark here. Ooh, the score. Okay. I wonder if I can change my code so that my score is like super high. I bet I can do that. So what I have to do, I have to look, where can I find that score variable so I can change it so that it gives me extra points. I think that's a great way to change the code. Let me see what I can find. So I'm looking through, and students, I'm taking a look just to see if you have any questions. So far, we've got some zombies going on here. Let us know what else you guys are coding. I'm still looking for that score, but you know what? It's not in my sprite. I don't see where it's calculating the score in my sprite. Students, I wonder if you can tell me in the form, where else could I look for code besides inside my sprites? So what else can I code besides these sprites? So there's code all through here. That's great and all. I'm going to wait for some responses in the form. Where else might there be code besides all of these sprites? There's a lot of code in here. Holy smokes. Look at you, Sarah. Sarah is the first one to let us know. Yes, don't forget the backdrops. So Sarah is right. Sarah knew there is code inside your backdrop. So you will want to, yep, Greg, you got it right as well. So when you go over to the stage, if you click on your backdrop, what kind of code is in there? That code applies to all of your sprites. It applies to the whole program. I think that's where I'm going to be able to find out how to change my score. So I'm still going to keep looking. Students, you look and see what code you can change. I'm going to keep looking. My computer's going a little bit slow today, but that's okay. Hopefully it's not too bad on your end. I'm looking for that score variable. And now, students, I'm going to show you another little trick that I learned. So if you're like me and you're looking for something that you want to change, in my case, I'm looking for score. Instead of trying to look at every single word, here's a trick for you. If you press Control F, do you see that you get a search box that pops up? So I'm going to do that one more time. If you're looking for a certain word, if I press Control F, I get a search box. And now if I type the word score, whoa, it's telling me score is here 16 times. And look at that. It's highlighting it yellow for me. So that was just pressing Control F. And I'm searching for what I'm looking for. But I want to see where that score is inside my code. So now I'm looking for that bright yellow. Where does it say score? Searching. I know it's here somewhere. You do the same thing, students. You think about what are you searching for. If you want to try Control F. So Chloe, if that's what you wanted me to repeat, you press Control F. Or if you're on a Mac computer, you can press Command F. But then you get this search box. And you can search for whatever word you're looking for. In this case, I'm looking for how I can change the score. And we only have about another minute of coding. I'm hoping I'm going to be able to find how to change the score. I know it's here somewhere. Students, let us know in the form, what have you changed in your code? And it looks to me like my computer is not going to play nice. It is not. Oh, there it was. And I just moved too quickly. Did you see? Change score by, I found it. I can change my score. Whoa. Instead of changing my score just by 72, what if I change this to like 1,000? So before, I'd get like 100 points when I played this game. Let me see really quickly. I changed the score. When I stop this code and play it again, let's see if I did it. If I move my bears, it used to give me 120 points. Let me see how many points I get this time. Come on, please work. Oh, it's going slow on me. And, oh, darn. Oh, maybe it did work. Anyhow, students, you get the idea. A lot of this is troubleshooting. A lot of this is playing around, searching around. I'm going to stop sharing my screen in the hopes that things move a tiny bit faster on my end. With that, Googlers, that seemed like a very fast amount of time to get some coding done. I'd love to know what you guys did. I think Sandy would like to know what you guys did. I think we'll bring her back in. Well, hello, Sandy.
Hello, coders. I'm trying to keep up with that form, Michelle, and there's so much activity in there. So we really just took existing code. Somebody else created this, and now we're manipulating it. We're changing it up, and we're just playing to see how that makes the code run. Do I have it right? And
Exactly.
Justin, Laura, and Ruth, do you do a little bit of the same kind of stuff in your work at Google? Yeah, I see heads nodding. So pretty cool, right, Michelle, that we're doing this? And I bet there's a lot of kids out there that are still coding, still trying to make those changes. Can't wait to see what Justin and Laura and Ruth have done.
Awesome. And students as well. I can't wait to hear what you guys have done. Let us know in the form. You made the guy jump even higher. Hassan, you were adding secret cheat menu to the Mario game. Amazing. Students, let us know, what have you done so far, knowing you probably are going to play a whole lot longer? Well, why don't we start? Let's go with Justin. Do you want to show us your code first?
Sure, let me try. Share screen.
And I like you, or you. Let me know how to pronounce your name. Just mentioned it's a little bit hard, but it's fun because you figured it out. Agreed. Isn't that the cool thing about coding? It's like this challenge, but the more you work, the more you figure out, the better it is. All right, Justin, it looks like you are ready to go. Okay. You want to tell us just a little bit about your code and what you changed, and then you can run it. Tell us about it.
Sounds good. So the first thing, I changed 3 things. The first thing I changed was that the music was too loud when I started it, like way too loud. So I added a set volume to 10% when I was able to find the theme. And I spent like a long time looking for the theme until someone mentioned that you could find code in the backdrops. And then I eventually found it. So that often reminds me of like when I'm at work and I'm having a random conversation with someone at lunch and they're like, hey, did you know this thing about code? And then it gives you an idea for my own project. So that definitely helped. And I also added the key M pressed. So the music will only play if I press the M key for music. So I did that because I wanted it to be more in control. And then I found the sprite part where all the code was. And it was pretty complicated to dig into. So what I tried to do was, first I tried to look, all right, well, what happens when I start it? And I found that what's happening when it started is there's a bunch of different user-defined functions in these pink blocks that get shown. So I went and I was looking for the ones that had the key presses in them. So I scrolled, and they're still hard to find, but here we go. I found the ones with the key presses, and when I was here, they only had the if the space was pressed, or the up arrow or left arrow or right arrow was pressed, and I didn't like that very much because I prefer to use my left hand when I'm playing video games. So I wanted to add the D keys for so A and D can be like left and right, and W could be the up arrow instead. I just find that's more comfortable. So I added an OR logic operator thing. So it could be either up arrow or W could be pressed to do the thing where the block drops. That just sort of reminds me of like when sometimes an easy change to make in your code is things related to making it more accessible or easier to use for other users. It's not always the flashiest thing, but it makes it a lot more comfortable for people. Last thing, go ahead, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, and that just makes so much sense. And what I also love about your other switches were problems. It's like, I don't like this. I can make this better. So whether it's better for accessibility or just better as your own, preference, all great reasons to want to change code. Okay, and what else did you do?
The last thing I did was I added a turtle on top of the sprite, so a turtle will ride the blocks as it falls.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it.
So
awesome.
Let me run it. That's okay. So there we go.
Look at that. So that was changing the design.
I'll stop there before I show how bad I am at Tetris.
I love it, Justin. And students, we're going to be asking you to give feedback to our Googlers. So, what did you think about Justin's code? What did you think about his changes? What did you like? What other suggestions might you give Justin? So let us know in the form so we can pass that info on to Justin. Let's go on to you, Ruth. Go ahead and share your screen. And while you're doing that, we have, so Daniel changed the sprite of the soccer player. So great job, Justin. Oh, and Justin, you even got a shout out from one of your friends. They said, Justin, you, Justin, did an amazing job. So great for that. Excellent. Do we have you ready to go, Ruth?
Yeah. Okay, you should be able to see this. Okay, cool.
We sure do.
Okay, so yeah, for reference, I haven't like worked with Scratch a lot. So what I did first was just kind of like look at all the different things that exist to change, and I heard that we can like change the look of them. So as I said earlier, I wanted to kind of add some animals to mine. So pretty much if we look into the different sprites I added here, I put like a cat on like this red one that's initially red, and like here I put like a different cat for like the next level red one. And I did the same for like all the other colors. Like I have a jellyfish theme and this chick theme, and some elephants. And yeah, so I also changed the background colors to colors I personally prefer. Like I really like purple. So I made my background very purple. And if I hit start in the game, you'll see I also added this like dinosaur that comes on. And yeah, like this is the game. It can be played. It's pretty fun. I don't know, I won't play too much for time, but yeah, if I play on, you'll see like different animals will appear over time. So yeah, those are most of the changes I made.
And what's so cool is, so even though we picked the exact same code, our code looks completely different, just given our own personality. So that's so fun.
Yeah.
Love that. Excellent. Students, if you have any comments or questions or notes for Ruth and her code, go ahead and put that in there. Ramton says, good job, Ruth. It looks amazing. So thank you for that, Ramton. And Laura, while you are getting your code loaded up, Sandy, any comments from you on this code?
I just think it's amazing. Like first of all, I remembered Tetris, but when Justin actually played his code and the music came on, it was like, oh, now I really remember Tetris. Like it's amazing how it sort of tweaks your memory. And again, Ruth, yeah, I think you had been telling me that you hadn't really done anything in Scratch for CS First or Scratch MIT. So just to see how quickly you're able to manipulate that code and make it your own. Same game as Michelle, but you've personalized it. Absolutely love that. So looking forward to seeing what Laura's going to share with us.
Okay, yeah. So I chose to do Flappy Bird. So the first thing that I noticed is what I wanted to do is so Flappy Bird is the bird trying to get through the pipes. And so I wanted to, when it went through a pipe, to switch costumes. And so I wasn't really sure how to do that. And I wasn't sure in the code, like, how I would say, like, like, is it within the pipe, like how I was going to do that. And so what I figured out is that when you go through a pipe, you get a point, which gets a coin. And so I found this broadcast called Coin Noise. I know it's kind of small. I'll try to zoom in a bit. And so I found this thing called Coin Noise. And so a broadcast is basically saying it sends it to every sprite, every page, this like coin noise is broadcasted. And so I said, okay, so when I received this broadcast for coin noise, so the score is going up, I want to switch costumes. And so I'm not, it's kind of hard to play on the computer, so I'm not super good, but hopefully it can work. So when I go through the pipe, yeah, I lost right away, but you see it switched to a cat. And then if I went through the next one, it would switch back to a cat. And then one other thing I tried to do is I wanted to put in a hard mode. And so I just click hard mode. And so now there's a little dude on top of, I know it's kind of small, but there's like a little guy on top of the Flappy Bird. So it just makes it harder because it's a bit bigger. And something I was trying to do, but I couldn't quite figure out how to do it, so maybe I'll have to keep working on this, is I wanted it so that it would switch still between the cat with the little dude on top and the bird with the little dude on top. But I was having some troubles. You can kind of see I was playing around here with some if-then blocks, and I couldn't quite figure it out. And so that's just a part of, coding, trying to figure something out. Maybe it doesn't work, maybe it does. But yeah, that's kind of what I did for my Flappy Bird hour of code.
And I love just that's the way coding goes. You just have to keep trying, figure it out. Laura, you also mentioned broadcast. I know the broadcast block inside Scratch. Is that a feature or a term that you use in your everyday coding as well?
Yeah, I would definitely say so. Like sometimes, event occurs or something happens and you need to let multiple systems know. The project I'm literally working on right now is basically that. It's kind of like a broadcast of, hey, this state changed and we need to let all these different systems and services that care about it know. And so, yeah, it definitely is applicable in kind of our day-to-day work coding as well.
Very cool. All right. Well, students, we have a little bit of time. If you have any questions or comments for our Tooglers, let them know. Rampton also said, great job. Super cool to you, Laura. Sandy, any commentary from you or questions for these Googlers?
Yeah, I want to come back to this concept that, I think most of us have played some kind of game. Certainly Ruth and Laura, Justin, Michelle, lots of our students have played games. So we've been that consumer, right? We've been the people that have been playing the games that somebody else has created for us. And now this is a perfect time for us to recognize we can be the creator, even if we take that base and we manipulate it and change it, like all of you are doing, and like all of you have just shown us. It is so amazing that we don't have to just consume things the way they are. We can personalize them. We can bring our own likes and dislikes. We can make them more accessible. We can make them more suit our style. So you can be creator students and not just consumers of technology. Absolutely love this.
Fabulous. Let's just see. We have lots of shout outs to all of you Tooglers, to Laura and Justin and Ruth. They love your code. With that, we have a couple more minutes. Sandy, I wonder if we could go into just advice that these Tooglers might have for these students working on their code.
I think that might be a good time to put our Tooglers on the spot for a little pivot here and see what we can come up with. So Laura, I'm going to start with you. Laura, if you were to give our students and our educators today a final word, something about coding, it's Computer Science Education Week. This is only 1 hour of code. We know that some people are like super really good at it and some people are just getting started. But Laura, what would be that final word that you'd like our students and educators to hear today?
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing that I kind of found, especially when starting coding, is not being afraid to fail or not being afraid to not do something right away. Like, honestly, when I first started coding, I probably wouldn't have even mentioned hey, I tried to do this hard mode thing and it didn't totally work. But now I've kind of realized that that's just a part of the process. That's a part of learning. That's a part of growing. You're never going to be amazing at something the first time you try it. You have to put in the time and practice. So don't be discouraged if you weren't able to do something amazing, extravagant today. It's all something great. And yeah, just keep working at it and you can do it. It's really fun, but you definitely, don't get discouraged if it's not, perfect the first time you try it.
I love that, Laura. We're not looking for perfection, are we? We're everything's iterative. Everything's changing all the time. Everything's able to be manipulated to make it better. So I think that's great advice. Justin, let me go to you. Justin, what would be your final word for our students today? They're just embarking on this world of coding. It's in the curriculum now in some provinces. We know that we're consuming code that somebody else has created all the time. What would be your final word?
I think it's hard for me to iterate on what Laura said. I completely echo that sentiment. It was great. So maybe I can just quickly add that things get easier with practice. So consistent trying, consistently coming back, and practicing makes things easier and more fun. So
Yeah,
That's
nothing comes right away, right? I mean, that's part of the learning journey. It's part of, and might be some people that do pick it up a little bit more quickly, and some people who maybe need to see it. Maybe they need to do it. Maybe they need to hear somebody coach them on how to do it. But for sure, it takes that time. So even if it's your very first time ever using Scratch for CS First, dig in on your own when nobody else is around and just play, right? That practice is so important. Thank you for that, Justin. And Ruth, I know that this is really your first opportunity at being a Toogler, right? You're a Googler, but now you're teaching students. And so Ruth, what kind of advice would you have for our students today?
Yeah, something I would just add to what Laura and Justin have already said is you might be interested in like many different types of projects. And so just because maybe if you don't like even the project you did today, it doesn't mean that you might not ever like coding or anything related to tech. I think that like sometimes, especially like when I started doing like programming work, I maybe had like an idea of what I'd be doing, but that didn't actually meet like expectations of like, you know, real life. And there's so many different types of projects that require like technical work, and so I'd say that if you think maybe this is something that you could be interested in or you don't even know yet, you can just try a bunch of different types of projects. And like even in Scratch there's so many different games. Like here you got to like pick a game you liked and maybe that helped you get into it, and so yeah, my advice is just like try out different things.
I love it. And so whether that's in Scratch MIT, if it's in Scratch for CS First, Justin, Laura, and Ruth, you all work on different teams. I could imagine that if you really didn't love the team that you're on, might you have the opportunity to switch teams? Absolutely. And I mean, if you didn't like a really big company, maybe you could switch to a different company where you're working on code and then maybe switch back again. Lots of opportunity for you to move around. So I love that, Ruth, that opportunity just to try different things on. And so, Michelle, I think it turned out perfectly that we could have that final word from our Tooglers. And students, I do hope that you'll join me in a virtual round of applause because Justin, Laura, and Ruth are volunteering their time. I know that they've got Google projects that they should be working on, but I pull them away to put them out in front of you. So thank you very much, Tooglers, for joining us. And with that, Michelle, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Fabulous. And yes, thank you so much, Tooglers. And thank you, students. And thank you for those of you telling us what you changed. Ellie changed the pigs in Minecraft to girls. Love it. We have Enzo and Luca and Keaton are still here saying thank you. Thank you, students, for your feedback in that form. And we'd love to hear what you coded. We'd also love to see what you coded. So teachers, in your email, you do have information on how you can send those Scratch files to us, and we can put those up in our Scratch library for our Tooglers to see, for other students to see. But teachers, if you check your email, you'll get information about that. And students, do you want to keep coding? Do you feel like today just wasn't long enough? An hour of code should be like a week of code? Well, guess what? You have a chance to continue coding, of course, outside of school time. But we're back tomorrow with 3 new Googlers. We're going to be here Thursday with 3 other Googlers. We're at different times throughout the day, but maybe, just maybe, your teacher has you signed up for that. And you can keep coding with us. It's going to be the same activity, but we're never really done, are we? And then, of course, teachers, our CS First Coding Across the Curriculum series starts back again in January, where you can code with us almost every single Tuesday for the remainder of the year. If you haven't had a chance to check that out, take a look at our website. So much going on, and it's thanks to Sandy and Google for helping to make it all happen. Sandy, I'll leave the final word to you.
Well, it takes a village to raise a bunch of coders and students that are showing their creativity and not just being those consumers. So for sure, it may have been a little too fast for some, may have been a little too slow for others. Jump in, teachers, into the Cobblestone Collective website. Check out our series for starting again in January. We've got something for the very beginner, something for every subject. We would love to have you join us. And so with that, we wish everyone happy CS Ed Week, happy Hour of Code, and happy coding, everyone.